All right, what can I help you with today?
My question today is I have one particular staff member who seems to be getting what I call too big for their boots. And what I mean by that is they're doing their job and they're doing it efficiently, but they're sticking their nose into other people's businesses. They're wanting to make sure everything's equal with everyone. They're assuming that they understand situations and trying to, put in solutions that, they don't actually even understand the situation. They're kind of telling management how to schedule their own time. They want to make sure they're involved in every conversation. So it's not like fireable offences. It's just kind of making the office a bit of a uncomfortable area.
Perfect.
Do you understand what I mean?
For sure. And that's a lot of context, which is good. So, my first thought goes to, it's a leadership issue, right? Like that, we've probably allowed it to happen for too long. So all it is a behavior that we need to retrain. They obviously think they've got license to speak into areas that they don't. And, they will either be one of two types of people. They'll either be one, it was an honest mistake, which they will, give them the new parameters and they'll hop back in their box. Or they're the kind of person that is just a, nosy, sticky beak and always puts their nose in other people's businesses, right? They either be one of those two. And you'd probably have to tackle those slightly differently. But I think, that I would probably just grab them in an informal meeting and just go, hey, Bob, just want to have a quick chat with you about something, all good. And just down and go, listen, I've just noticed that, one of the things that you like to do is find out what's going on around you. And first of all, I appreciate the fact that you love our business so much that you want to be involved in everything. But what I need you to do is operate in this area and be really, really good in that area. But having said that, if they're the kind of person that does occasionally come up with some good ideas, then I would say to them, hey, listen, I just want you to operate in this little box here. But how about I come to you, let's have a quick 5-minute meeting every month or every quarter or whatever you want to do. And I'm going to ask for your ideas and you can give them to me in that meeting. That way you're kind of saying, get back in the box, but I do honor the fact that you've got ideas. Most people, I'd say 90% of people, that if you have that clear conversation, they'll hop back in their box, they won't do it again. Some people, they still may do it because it's their nature and they're not being malicious, it's just their nature. What would you say? Would you say it's kind of like how they are everywhere, or do you reckon if you had a quick chat, they would probably fix their behavior? Which way do you reckon it would go?
I think they probably are like that everywhere, to be truthful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They like to be, the centre. Well, not necessarily the centre, they just want to be, not miss out on anything kind of thing.
So after I've had that conversation with that type of person, the way I would do it is I would chip them in a fun way after I've had that conversation, right? So I'd be like, hey, Bob, that meeting we had the other day where we talked about you having an opinion on everything? Here's a classic case, Bob, where we'll be right without it, and you say it in a joking way, and then maybe they get the hint that that's not called for type thing in that setting. And if they don't get it after that chat, you may have to just go to them and say, hey, listen, the other day when you spoke up in that meeting on a topic that's not particularly yours, I want you to come to me with those ideas and not air them at the time because they can be a little bit distractive, right? That's the kind of thing you can do in the follow-up after you've had your clear chat. If they're the kind of person that it is actually disruptive, right, and they continually do it after being chipped, maybe then you do have to consider, is the disruption worth having them on staff or not? Have we still got you there, Leah? I think it dropped out. So anyway, that's what I'd be doing. Sorry, Leah. Maybe we can just see if we can get her back and just to be nice and wrap up the call. Otherwise, but that's like, it's one of those things. If they're a good person and they're good at their job. Are we... Hey.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. If they're good at their job, I wouldn't obviously rush them out the door. But if down the line they are actually being disruptive, and they're not listening to your instruction as the leader, then you do probably have to look at their future employment if it's disruptive. You know, this is just a case, I think, of, you know, you having to step up a level and play that leadership role and just basically, you know, manage that behavior and say, it's not ideal for us. Here's the reasons why, and we would like you to do it this way from now on. And if they don't fix that, well, then you've just got to look at, you know, coming down on them even more so. And if that doesn't work, then maybe it's goodbye down the line. But in the meantime, you know, if they're good at their job, everybody's prickly to some degree, right? So if it's not particularly disruptive, but you just don't really like it, you know, maybe part of that we all just have to suck it up a little bit. But if it's disruptive, then that's the bit you need to address.
Yeah, I think it's disruptive because other staff members become a bit disrespectful because, you know, when someone butts into their business, they don't particularly like that.
Okay, good. So if, like, in the moment, right, in the moment that I see that take place, I would just go, hey guys, can you two please, let's just jump in my office. I want to have a quick meeting with you two, nothing too heavy. And then just walk in and go, now, Mary, this is an example of what I mean. Brian said this, you chimed in with this. It's caused this entire conversation, right? And we've just spent 15 minutes chasing a rabbit that didn't need to happen. And giving them in the moment context so they don't do it again.
Yep.
Now, most people, if you don't like confrontation, you're not going to want to have that conversation, right? But this is why I said it's a leadership, because if you can just grab it in the moment, address it in the moment, get both of them to see in the moment why it's bad, you're very likely to fix the issue.
Yeah, yeah. So if they turn it around the other way and they then start pointing out everyone else's mistakes because they don't want to take responsibility for themselves, how then do you deal with it?
Yeah, so I mean, to me, I would never let them get to that point because I'd be like, hey, I'm not soliciting your opinions at the moment. However, when I do a review with you in 3 months' time, at that point, we will be asking for your feedback on your team members. Until that point, I want you to work with them. You know, for me, if I did have one person, like as this conversation I'm having with you, Leah's going on, I'm like, this person's getting worse, right? They've started off as somebody who just, you know, maybe was a bit prickly, and now they're just an outright nightmare. So, like maybe it needs to be dealt with even more seriously. Like my Average to Awesome program, right? If they're not going to improve, and they are actually, and they're pointing out everybody else's flaws and not taking accountability for their own, that's the kind of person that we're going to put through Average to Awesome. Sit down with them. You're currently average. We want to get you to awesome. 4 weeks, weekly milestones. This is where you need to be in week 1, 2, 3, 4, and in 4 weeks you're going to be awesome. If you don't get there, then we're going to have to look at your future employment. Then they may catch the gravity of the situation. My guess would be 90% of the people you would do this process with will get it because they're going to be embarrassed. 10%, they are, that's their nature, and it's a little bit malicious, and they're the kind of people you have to probably behavior manage out of the business. Yeah,
turn it into a performance issue.
Yeah, and then if you get rid of them, by the way, everybody else steps up. Because everybody else is like far out. Because the perceived leadership is if you address an issue and you give them enough rope and you help them and you put them through a program to try and make them win and they don't win, the rest of the team are like far out. The leadership in this place is amazing. We all need to step up and do a better job.